Welcome to the deep dive. We're cutting straight to it today, taking a close look at something that can truly set hotels and restaurants apart.
hmm
We've been digging into the ideas of Maurice, a hospitality professional, deep experience in food and beverage, and his take on what he calls improvised hospitality.
Exactly. And for those of you running hotels and restaurants, think of this as a focused session to uncover actionable strategies.
Right.
Our goal, really inspired by Maurice's expertise, is to explore how those often underestimated personalized gestures can be your most powerful tool for building uh, a legion of loyal customers. We're not talking about overhauling your business, but rather the magic of those small, unexpected touches.
Precisely. It's the kind of thing that doesn't need a massive budget, but can create truly, sticky, memorable experiences. Okay, so let's get into the core of it.
Okay.
In Maurice's experience, what exactly does improvised hospitality look like?
Well, drawing from Maurice's insights, improvised hospitality really boils down to those spontaneous, thoughtful, and genuinely personalized attentions that can elevate a guest's visit
Mm.
from ordinary to exceptional.
Hmm.
It's about going beyond just routine service and offering something that feels specifically tailored to that moment or that individual. Think of it as creating little moments of surprise and delight.
So it's more than just efficiency or politeness. It's about that proactive, thoughtful step that feels both genuine and unexpected.
hmm
And Maurice emphasizes that these aren't just nice-to-haves. They forge lasting memories and become incredibly potent word-of-mouth marketing. People remember and talk about these kinds of positive surprises.
Absolutely. Maurice would tell you that a positive, unexpected moment has a far greater chance of being shared and remembered than a perfectly adequate but, ultimately forgettable
All
experience.
right.
And he shares a really compelling example right away that brings this to life.
Yes, the European tourists. Tell us that story through Maurice's lens.
Okay, so according to Maurice, these two European tourists were dining at a restaurant and happened to mention their disappointment. They hadn't had the chance to try a particular iconic local dish during their trip.
Okay.
Now, this dish wasn't a regular item on the restaurant's menu, but here's the crucial part, reflecting Maurice's understanding of great hospitality. The restaurant staff took it upon themselves to actually source the dish from a nearby place.
Wow.
Yeah, and the chef then prepared it as a surprise for the tourists.
That's truly going above and beyond what's expected. You can just imagine the positive impression that left.
Exactly. And as Maurice highlights, the impact of such a gesture is profound. These tourists didn't just have a meal. They walked away with a story, a great story they were likely eager to share with friends and family.
Hmm.
That kind of authentic, positive word of mouth stemming from a small act of improvisation is truly invaluable for any hotel or restaurant owner listening.
Okay, that's a powerful illustration from Maurice. But how can our listeners, the hotel and restaurant owners, take this kind of thinking and apply it in their daily operations? What are some concrete, actionable steps inspired by Maurice's perspective?
Maurice offers some really practical guidance here. A key point he emphasizes is the critical importance of active listening.
Active listening.
Right. He encourages staff at all levels to truly engage with customer conversations. You never know when a seemingly offhand comment might reveal a unique opportunity to create a special improvised moment.
That's a fundamental shift in mindset, isn't it?
Mm.
Training your team to be not just order takers, but active listeners and opportunity spotters.
Absolutely.
What kinds of things might they be listening for, according to Maurice?
Maurice suggests it could be anything, really. A mention of a special occasion, like an anniversary, maybe a specific dietary request that goes slightly beyond the menu,
Okay.
a shared interest revealed in passing, or even just a subtle expression of something a guest might be wishing for. He then illustrates this with the idea of adaptable gestures.
Ah,
For instance, if a couple mentions enjoying French pastries, a small, unexpected offering of macarons as they depart would be a simple yet highly effective touch. It shows you are listening and value their preferences.
that's such a smart example. It's a small investment, sure, but the perceived value and the personal connection created are significant.
Precisely. And then Maurice points to the element of creativity.
Creativity.
He shares an example of a chef in Montreal who might spontaneously offer a taste of local maple syrup to a foreign customer who expresses curiosity about it. It's small, locally relevant,
Yeah.
fosters a connection, provides a little unexpected delight.
I love that. It's about leveraging your local context and thinking creatively with what you already have. Doesn't need to be extravagant to be deeply impactful.
And that's a core principle Maurice underscores.
Yeah.
The emotional resonance of the gesture far outweighs its monetary cost.
Right.
A small, well-timed, and thoughtful surprise will often leave a much stronger and more positive impression than a grand but maybe generic offering.
All right, so we've explored these initial, often spontaneous gestures. Now, Maurice also delves into the importance of actively recognizing and rewarding loyal customers. This feels like a cornerstone, doesn't it? Building lasting relationships in hospitality.
It absolutely is from Maurice's viewpoint. You want to make those repeat guests feel truly valued, appreciated for their continued business. He shares a particularly striking example
Oh, yeah.
of a restaurant that went as far as offering a personalized chair to a very loyal patron.
A personalized chair.
Yeah, that's certainly a memorable and tangible way to show appreciation.
That definitely makes a statement. Okay, well, personalized furniture might not be feasible for every place. What are some more broadly applicable ideas listeners could implement, drawing from Maurice's expertise?
Maurice suggests several practical approaches. One is the simple act of reserving a preferred table for regular customers, maybe even adding a discreet name plaque.
Oh, nice.
It's subtle but powerful, makes them feel recognized, truly welcomed back.
That's a lovely touch. Fosters a sense of belonging, makes them feel like they have a special connection to your place.
Another idea, according to Maurice, is to cultivate a VIP atmosphere for regulars, occasionally surprising them with a complimentary dessert or some other form of special attention, acknowledging their loyalty.
Yeah.
These unexpected treats create a strong sense of value and appreciation.
And again, it doesn't have to be costly.
Hmm.
A small, thoughtful extra can make a regular feel truly special. Maurice also mentions a fun example here. What's that?
Maurice shares the example of a cafe. They learned it was a regular customer's birthday
Uh-huh.
and presented them with a personalized mug for their usual coffee order, which they could then use on all future visits.
That's such a charming and personal touch. It's
Yeah.
both useful and memorable.
Exactly.
Okay, so shifting gears slightly, beyond just recognizing regulars, how can hotels and restaurants really elevate the experience for any guest? Create those truly magical, unforgettable moments in line with Maurice's thinking.
Maurice emphasizes that crafting these extraordinary moments doesn't necessarily require a big financial investment. It's more about a healthy dose of imagination and attentiveness.
Right.
He shares a wonderful anecdote about a restaurant that surprised a couple. They gifted them a DVD of a film they had been discussing quite enthusiastically during their meal.
That's incredibly thoughtful. It shows a real depth of attention to the guest's experience and, wow, a willingness to go the extra mile.
Exactly. The cost of the DVD, minimal,
Yeah.
relatively. But the impact on the guests was immense. Turned an ordinary dinner into a cherished memory, a great story.
Yeah.
And the crucial element here, as Maurice points out, is having a team that is truly present, actively listening, and empowered to react to those customer cues.
So it all circles back to that core skill of attentiveness.
Yeah.
What are some other tangible ways our listeners can surprise their customers and create these magical moments, drawing from Maurice's insights?
Maurice offers several actionable suggestions. One is the practice of anticipating needs.
Anticipating needs,
Yep.
okay.
If a guest mentions a special occasion, like a birthday or a recent promotion, a spontaneous gesture like offering a complimentary glass of champagne to celebrate, that can create a delightful and memorable surprise.
That's a classic for a reason. It's celebratory and shows you're attuned to what's happening in their lives. Simple, but effective.
Another idea, according to Maurice, is to offer thoughtfully themed gifts. If a guest expresses a passion for reading, perhaps presenting them with a novel by a local author at the end of their stay or meal, that would be relevant and much appreciated.
That's a fantastic way to also connect with the local community and offer something truly unique. And Maurice has a specific hotel example related to this, doesn't he?
Yes. He suggests a hotel could offer an engraved leather bookmark to guests who mention their enjoyment of reading. It's simple, elegant, a lasting memento that aligns with their interest.
These are all such creative yet practical ideas, really highlighting that the thought behind the gesture is what truly resonates. Now, Maurice introduces this intriguing concept of a dedicated master of surprises.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that from his perspective?
This is where Maurice's thinking gets particularly innovative, I think. He proposes the idea of actually designating a specific role, or maybe a focused team, whose primary job is to cultivate and execute these kinds of impromptu hospitality moments, to be the orchestrators of those magical guest experiences. He acknowledges it might initially sound like a luxury,
Yeah, it does a bit.
but he strongly believes in the significant added value it brings to the overall customer journey and loyalty.
A master of surprises? The title itself suggests a proactive, creative approach. While it might seem like a big investment, I can see how having someone specifically dedicated could really elevate things. How does Maurice envision this being implemented?
Maurice outlines a few key steps. The first is, quite simply, designating an individual or a small team to take on this role, embracing that enthusiastic title, Master of Surprises, and empowering them.
So it's about assigning ownership, making it a clear priority.
Exactly. And the second crucial step, according to Maurice, is training your entire staff to cultivate that same mindset.
Right, not just one person.
No. Everyone needs to be alert for opportunities, feel empowered to act quickly and creatively. It shouldn't solely fall on the master of surprises. It needs to be woven into the very fabric of your customer service culture.
That makes perfect sense.
Heh.
Every team member plays a role. And Maurice has an inspiring example related to fostering this team-wide approach, doesn't he?
He does. Maurice suggests that a restaurant, for example, could institute a brief weekly team meeting. Staff members share their most creative and successful impromptu gestures from the past week.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it not only celebrates those positive actions, but also serves as a powerful way for the entire team to learn from each other's successes and spark new ideas.
That's a brilliant idea. It transforms it into a collaborative effort, keeps the creative ideas flowing. Now, in today's world, technology, it plays a huge role. How does Maurice see tech fitting into this concept of improvised hospitality?
Maurice views social networks and various technologies as powerful tools for amplifying the impact of these magical moments.
Amplifying them. How so?
Imagine, for instance, a private internal social media group, maybe on Instagram or something similar, where your team can share photos and quick anecdotes about the delightful surprises they've created for guests.
That's a fantastic way to build internal excitement and visually demonstrate what's possible.
Precisely. Maurice emphasizes how this can inspire the entire staff, foster collective pride, and serve as a living library of successful initiatives. He also offers some specific practical examples for our listeners.
Lay them on us.
Maurice suggests utilizing internal communication platforms, WhatsApp, dedicated team messaging apps, for staff to quickly share ideas, successes, even real-time opportunities. This allows for immediate inspiration and collaborative problem solving.
That makes sense. Keeps the conversation going beyond formal meetings, allows for more immediate action.
Another practical idea for Maurice: incorporate brief brainstorming sessions focused on potential guest gestures into your pre-service staff meetings.
Good one.
Gets everyone thinking creatively before the shift even begins. And Maurice has a particularly interesting bonus idea related to technology and preserving memories.
Oh, what's that?
He suggests creating a memory wall in a backstage area, maybe a digital display, or even a physical board,
Okay.
where staff can post positive messages or photos received from delighted customers. It serves as a constant visual reminder of the impact of their efforts, a significant morale booster.
I absolutely love that. Tangible evidence of the positive outcomes of their work.
Right.
Brilliant. Now, to truly enable this kind of spontaneous generosity, Maurice introduces the concept of a readily accessible hospitality toolbox. What does that entail?
The core idea behind the hospitality toolbox, according to Maurice, is to have a curated collection of small, readily available items.
Okay.
Items your team can utilize to facilitate these spontaneous gestures. The primary purpose is to empower them to act instantly when an opportunity arises, without needing to seek approval or resources for every small act of kindness.
So, it's about being prepared to seize those fleeting moments of opportunity. What kind of items might be included in this toolbox, based on Maurice's suggestions?
Maurice suggests stocking it with a variety of small, versatile items. Things like high-quality chocolates, local postcards featuring attractive scenes, maybe even some lighthearted themed props for impromptu celebrations or photo ops.
Right.
The key is having a diverse selection to suit different guests and situations.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
You want a range of options depending on the context. Maurice also mentions the value of local collaborations for this toolbox, right?
Yes. Maurice strongly recommends forging partnerships with local artisans or small businesses. Source unique, authentic gifts that reflect the distinct character of your region.
Good point.
This not only supports your local economy, but also adds a more personal and memorable touch to your gestures.
That's a fantastic idea for creating a stronger sense of place, offering something truly special guests can't find anywhere else. And Maurice has a fun example for this toolbox concept as well.
He does. He suggests that a restaurant located by the sea could keep a collection of attractive seashells or local maps on hand. Small, thematic souvenirs they could spontaneously offer.
Simple, yeah.
It's a simple, location-relevant touch that enhances the overall experience.
These are all such practical and creative ideas.
Yeah.
It really comes down to empowering your team to be thoughtful and proactive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Maurice also emphasizes that this focus on creating magical moments doesn't just benefit the
No,
customers.
absolutely not.
It has a significant positive impact on the staff as well.
Absolutely. Maurice explains that when staff are actively involved in creating these special experiences, it fosters a greater sense of pride and commitment to their work.
Mhm.
They feel more valued, more engaged when they're empowered to go beyond the basic requirements and create genuine connections.
That's so important. A happy, motivated team is truly the foundation of exceptional hospitality, isn't it?
It really is.
What are some specific ways our listeners can foster this kind of positive, engaged environment for their staff? Drawing from Maurice's insights.
Maurice offers several key ideas. One powerful approach is to regularly celebrate successes during staff meetings. Specifically, highlight employees who've gone above and beyond to create memorable moments.
Yeah, recognition.
Publicly recognizing their efforts not only validates their contributions, but also inspires others.
That's a fantastic way to reinforce the importance of this initiative and create a culture of recognition.
Another valuable suggestion from Maurice is to surprise your staff with unexpected acts of appreciation themselves.
A nice twist.
Yeah. Organizing a special evening for your employees, maybe including personalized gifts or acknowledgments of their hard work. It can make them feel valued in the same way you encourage them to treat customers.
Turnabout is fair play. I love that idea of extending the same principles internally. And Maurice has a final example related to staff motivation that ties it all together, doesn't he?
He does. Maurice suggests a restaurant could organize a special dinner event for its employees where each dish served is inspired by positive anecdotes shared by staff about their customer interaction.
Wow, that's creative.
It is. It's a highly creative way to directly link their efforts to the positive feedback they receive and reinforce the impact of their improvised hospitality.
That's such a thoughtful and unique idea. It really brings the whole concept full circle, connecting staff actions directly to positive customer experiences and recognition. So, in essence, this whole concept of improvised hospitality,
Mm-hmm.
as illuminated by Maurice, is about fundamentally shifting the focus
Yeah.
from purely transactional service to building genuine human connections with every single guest.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that every interaction is a potential opportunity to create something truly special and memorable. By cultivating active listening, proactively anticipating needs, fostering creativity and empowerment as Marie's advocates,
Right.
hotels and restaurants can transform ordinary visits into truly unforgettable experiences.
And as Maurice emphasizes, the benefits are really twofold.
Huh.
Not only do you cultivate stronger customer loyalty
Mhm.
and generate valuable positive word of mouth,
Mm.
but you also foster a more engaged, motivated, and ultimately more successful team.
Exactly. It's a win-win situation for everyone involved, a real virtuous cycle.
So for all of you listening who are in the hotel and restaurant business, here's a final thought inspired by Maurice's expertise. How can you empower your team to become true storytellers through the art of unexpected hospitality,
Mm.
turning every customer interaction into a potential legend that guests will eagerly share? It's about so much more than just serving food or providing a room. It's about crafting those fleeting magical moments that people will remember and talk about long after they've left your establishment. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.